We're working to connect a region of over 600 mil bridges between our lands.
Hello and welcome to ASEAN in Focus. I'm Maricar Velasco delivering to you the latest news in and around the ASEAN region. On today's headlines. At least 15 people were killed and another 4 injured in attacks by suspected Muslim rebels in Thailand's violence-racked south, an army spokesman said on Wednesday, the largest death toll in years. First in Bangkok, during closing ceremony of the 35th ASEAN Summit and related summits, Thailand's Prime Minister Prayuth Chanochas formally hands over the symbolic chairman's gavel to Vietnam's Prime Minister Nguyen Xuan Phuc. And Iglesia Ni Cristo holds aid to humanity in Cambodia. At least 15 people were killed and another 4 injured in attacks by suspected Muslim rebels in Thailand's violence-racked south, an army spokesman said on Wednesday, the largest death toll in years. The Malay Muslim South has been in the grip of a bloody insurgency that has killed more than 7,000 people over the last 15 years. Southern Army spokesman Paramote Promin told AFP late Tuesday militants struck two checkpoints in Yala province manned by civil defense volunteers, opening fire on them as a group of villagers stopped to talk. Pramote said 12 were killed at the scene, 2 more died at the hospital and 1 died this morning, adding that the rebels took M16 rifles and shotguns from the checkpoints. He said the areas surrounding the checkpoints have been closed off and are currently under forensic investigation. Rebels seeking autonomy for the culturally distinct region bordering Malaysia have been fighting the Buddhist majority Thai state, which colonized the area over a century ago. The grinding conflict is characterized by tit-for-tat attacks that usually target symbols of the Thai state and its security forces, but civilians from both Muslim and Buddhist communities often get caught in the crossfire. Don Pathan, an expert on the so-called Deep South, said Tuesday's attacks marked the largest coordinated effort in a very long time. The incidents have been fewer in recent years, but the hits have been more intense. Pathan said it is a reminder that they are still there. The rebels accuse the state of railroading their distinct culture as well as carrying out the routine abuses which go unpunished. Vietnam has arrested 8 more suspects in connection with the deaths of 39 people found in a truck in Britain who are believed to be Vietnamese, police said Monday. The bodies of 8 women and 31 men were found in a refrigerated lorry in an industrial park in Essex, east of London last month, in a case that has shaken Britain and exposed the deadly risk of illegal migration from Vietnam into Europe. British police initially said the victims were Chinese, but several Vietnamese families came forward to say they feared their relatives were on the truck. None has so far been officially identified. Many of the victims are suspected to have come from just 2 provinces in central Vietnam, including Nghệ An, where 8 people have been arrested in connection with the deaths, police said Monday, according to media reports. Director of Nghệ An Police Nguyen Huoc Cao said this was a very painful incident, a humanitarian accident, confirming the arrest in video comments carried by the state-run Tuo Trep newspaper. The official Vietnam news agency also confirmed the arrests, saying the suspects were detained for organizing and brokering people to go abroad and stay abroad illegally. 2 other suspects were arrested in Ha Tinh province last week in relation to the Essex incident. Brokers are rife in remote towns in central Vietnam, a hotspot for illegal migration into Europe. DNA samples and fingerprints have been taken from several families in the area as officials in Vietnam and Britain work to identify the victims. First in Bangkok, during closing ceremony of the 35th ASEAN Summit and related summits, Thailand's Prime Minister Prayuth Chanochas formally hands over the symbolic chairman's gavel to Vietnam's Prime Minister Nguyen Xuan Phuc. Vietnam will officially become the ASEAN chairman on January 1, 2020, the third time it has held the responsibility after 1998 and 2010. Take a look.
Your Majesty and honored guests, I have every confidence that Vietnam will take on the ASEAN chairmanship from Thailand with pride and will carry on ASEAN's dream of advancing partnerships for sustainable peace, freedom, security, and prosperity in the region for present and future generations. So allow me to leave you with the following idea. To ensure sustainability in ASEAN, there must be 3 C's. That is, continuity, complementarity, and creativity. I therefore wish Vietnam and ASEAN every success for the next year. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to witness this historic moment, inviting you to count it down. We are counting it down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the ASEAN chairmanship has officially been handed over to the Socialist Republic of Vietnam. Thank you very much indeed to your...
Build on those achievements in 2020, we'll focus efforts on consolidating cohesion of ASEAN. This shall be done through intensifying the solidarity, unity, strengthening economic integration and connectivity, deepening the values and particularities of the ASEAN community, improving the ASEAN institutional capacity and strengthening ASEAN engagement with the global community. Let us think community and act community. I welcome you all, ladies and gentlemen, to Vietnam for ASEAN 2020. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, Prime Minister of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam, inviting you to kindly take your seat now, Your Excellency. The Socialist Republic of Vietnam will officially assume the ASEAN chairmanship from the 1st.
The year 2020 marks ASEAN's 5 years of community building, halfway to Vision 2025, a community of peace, prosperity, and sustainability. The 10 ASEAN members traditionally take turns chairing the regional grouping in alphabetical order. Summing up the achievements in the past year, Thailand Prime Minister Prayuth Chanochas said ASEAN had worked for its people to enjoy greater sustainability security, to facilitate trade, and to promote sustainability in their region through consolidating cooperation within ASEAN and between ASEAN and external partners for the benefit of the people, among others.
ผู้นำอาเซียนได้รับรองเอกสารมุมมองของอาเซียนต่ออินโดแปซิฟิก
ASEAN's vista on the shifting geopolitics of our times and seeks to decrease competition and confrontation between major powers in the region. ASEAN has also established a mechanism to resolve the humanitarian situation in Rakhine State, and it is our hope that ASEAN will continue to play a role on this issue in order to help with preparations for the repatriation of the displaced persons. Second, we have worked to ensure that ASEAN cooperation over the past year will help to facilitate trade and cushion the impacts of trade conflicts and economic disputes between our major trading partners. We have concluded the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, or RCEP, according to the Joint Leaders' Statement on the RCEP, which is a coming together of countries that together account for 32% of global GDP, almost half of the world's population, and 30% of global trade. As a result, ASEAN will benefit from increased market access to trading partners. In addition, this year, ASEAN entrepreneurs will receive concrete benefits from the operationalization of the ASEAN single window in all 10 countries. the conclusion of the ASEAN MRA on type approval for automotive products, the initiation of the establishment of the ASEAN Network for combating IUU fishing, and a roadmap for the development of sustainable capital markets in ASEAN, among other things. In addition, we have promoted an ASEAN identity through declaring 2019 as the ASEAN Cultural Year and supporting ASEAN's joint bid to host the FIFA World Cup in 2034. All of this so that ASEAN citizens can together take pride in being a part of ASEAN. The joint bid will also help to promote the development of football, health, and sportsmanship for people of all ages in ASEAN, especially following the signing of the MOU between FIFA and ASEAN 2 days ago. And lastly, we have worked to promote sustainability in the region through consolidating cooperation within ASEAN and between ASEAN and external partners for the benefit of the people. ASEAN leaders have adopted the vision statement on partnership for sustainability to serve as a guide for continued efforts to bring about sustainability in all dimensions. We have also established the ASEAN Center for Sustainable Development Studies and Dialogue in Bangkok to support work in this area. And at present, Norway, Switzerland, the European Union, the United Nations, World Bank, Asia Foundation, and the Rockefeller Institute have expressed interest in developing concrete projects with the Center on the basis of the Complementarities Roadmap, which aims at promoting synergies between the ASEAN Community Vision 2025 and the UN 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development.
Philippines, Manila or Quezon City is a popular destination. But oftentimes the hustle and bustle of the city can be more stressful on your vacation. So when you feel the need to reconnect to nature or relax again, there's a beautiful oasis just outside of the city called the Garden at Ciudad de Victoria. That you can see here include hydrangea, snapdragon, and stargazers. They're truly beautiful. The gardens at Ciudad de Victoria are so peaceful, tranquil, and beautiful that it's become a haven for young couples and a very popular venue for engagement photos. The next time you want an escape from the big city, the garden at Ciudad de Victoria is a wonderful place to visit.
Welcome back. Prime Minister Shinzo Abe praises the signing of revised ASEAN-Japan partnership deal at the 35th ASEAN Summit in Bangkok recently. Let's listen in.
On institutionally strengthening connectivity, I welcome the signing of the revised protocol of the ASEAN-Japan Economic Partnership Agreement. I hope for its early entry into force so that service trade and investment are further vitalized. I welcome the progress in the RCEP negotiation. RCEP is important from the strategic and economic point of view as it will realize the world's largest free and fair economic area, thus bringing free and open Indo-Pacific into fruition. I'd like to see the continuation of cooperation toward the early conclusion by the 16 countries. In response to the rapid progress in the digital innovation, we will be discussing with other countries at the Fourth Industrial Revolution Dialogue measures to develop an environment for ICT-based disaster risk reduction cooperation and for the greater penetration of digital business conducive to resolving social challenges. On institutionally strengthening connectivity.
He also vowed to double Japanese investments and loans to the Association of Southeast Asian Nations to spur development in the region. Again, let's listen in.
So that service trade and investment. In order to support financially this joint statement, we shall launch initiative of overseas loan and investment for ASEAN. Mainly in ASEAN region for areas such as quality infrastructure, financial access, support for women, and greenfield investment, we are prepared to double the loan and investment by JICA going forward with the aim of mobilizing funds, including from the private sector.
Prime Minister Abe also vowed to coordinate with ASEAN in realizing a free and open Indo-Pacific. It's a concept designed to promote stability and prosperity in areas between Asia and Africa in accordance with principles such as the rule of law and the freedom of navigation. The United States accused China of intimidation in the South China Sea. U.S. National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien urged freedom of navigation. He led Washington's delegation to the summit of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations and Parallel East Asia Summit.
Or the big countries should not bully other countries. We talked about the South China Sea, and the fact is that there are claimant countries that have oil and gas and mineral and fishery resources in the South China Sea. That those resources belong to those countries and to their kids and to their grandkids and to the future of the ASEAN countries, and they should not be intimidated into giving those up just because another country may be bigger or stronger.
个别的域外国家不愿意看到南海风平浪静，这个不远万里跑到这里来，就是要在这个地区兴风作浪，搬弄是非，这个激化矛盾，制造紧张。他们
At the ASEAN summit, China's Deputy Foreign Minister Lei Yu-cheng accused some outside countries of meddling in the sea, answering a question on U.S. comments about the waters.
个别的域外国家不愿意看到南海风平浪静，这个不远万里跑到这里来，就是要在这个地区兴风作浪，搬弄是非，这个激化矛盾，制造紧张。他们不顾地区国家的这个关切，用他们的那一套来强加给我们，把他们那一套强加给我们，所以我们不能接受。
In return, O'Brien later said they don't think that they are meddlers. Again, let's listen in.
We don't think we're a meddler, and we always come where we're invited. Unlike some other countries, we like to be invited in. We think those disputes ought to be handled peaceably. We don't think they should be handled through intimidation or through maritime militias or by ramming ships or by surrounding islands. And that's just not how things should be done in the 21st century. Those are things that, that's like, that's conquest. Those are things that happened hundreds of years ago, and it shouldn't happen between neighbors in Southeast Asia.
Chinese Premier Li Keqiang on Sunday offered a conciliatory tone on the South China Sea, saying that Beijing was committed to progress on a code of conduct aimed at setting guidelines and reducing tensions. After attending the ASEAN summit in Bangkok, Chinese Prime Minister Li Keqiang pays an official visit to Thailand. During a joint statement with Thai Prime Minister Prayuth Chanochas, he says he is confident that a China-backed regional trade deal could come into effect next year.
我们都有信心，让明年 RCEP 生效，是临门一脚了。今年第7年，我们是破门入网。刚才我和巴育总理会谈的时候说，现在入了网的球还在旋转，我们要用最快的时间让它落地，让它尽快让15国，让东亚地区的各个参与国人民，我们这次会议还有一个扩大的成果，就是在3年前，我们中国和东盟共同宣布推动南海行为准则的磋商，这是基于国际法原则，维护当前和今后的南海和平稳定，使南海持久和平，南海诸国人民从中受益，获得安宁，南海的航行自由和飞越自由也得到规则的保障。
President Rodrigo Duterte has appointed Vice President Maria Leonor Leni Robredo as co-chairman of the Interagency Committee on Anti-Illegal Drugs. Robredo will serve as ICAD co-chairman, a cabinet rank until June 30, 2022, unless her appointment gets revoked. Malacanang asked the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, Philippine National Police Dangerous Drugs Board, and other law enforcement agencies to extend their full assistance and cooperation to Vice President to ensure the success of this government's efforts in the war against illegal drugs.
Maraming nagpahayag ng pangamba na hindi sincero ang alok, na ito ay isang trap na ang habol lang ay siraan at pahiyain ako. Maraming nagpayo na dapat kong tanggihan ang alok dahil pagpasa lang ito sa akin ng responsibilidad para sa mga kabiguan ng drug war. Marami nagsasabi na naghahanap lang ng damay ang administrasyong ito. Hindi naman ako nagpahayag ng aking mga puna sa drug war dahil naghahabol ako sa pwesto. Hindi ko hiniling ito. Sa Pangulo nang galing ang ideyang ito. Pero sa dulo, ang pinakamahalagang konsiderasyon para sa akin ay simple lang. Kung ito ang pagkakataon para matigil ang patayan ng mga inosente at mapanagot ang kailangang managot, papasanin ko ito. Kaya tinatanggap ko ang trabaho na binibigay sa akin ng Pangulo.
Net25 is now available on ASEAN, the largest entertainment network in the Middle East and North Africa.
Watch your favorite Net25 shows on OSN, channel 725, same day as the Philippines.
Net25 shows live and on demand anytime,
anywhere, or any mobile device on OSN Play.
Welcome back. Iglesia ni Cristo's aid to humanity continues all around the world. Here's EBC correspondent Crystal Ann Ballesteros reporting from Cambodia.
The Church of Christ, or Iglesia ni Cristo, in cooperation with Felix Y. Manalo Foundation, hosted an aid to humanity in Cambodia. Together with their friends and loved ones gathered here in Variety Pagtamay to show love and unity in this one-of-a-kind event.
Was also held in Siem Reap, led by a minister and other members of the Church of Christ in Phnom Penh.
With the light and smiles on their faces, goodie bags with non-perishable items were given to guests invited by members to listen and to pursue in attending Bible studies and to learn more about the teachings in the church.
This event is to continue in giving help to people and to open their curiosity about the church. As part of this event, an evangelical mission was also conducted and officiated by a resident minister, Brother Villamor Catabona Jr.
In our evangelical mission with Aid for Humanity, conducted by the Iglesia ni Cristo, or Church of Christ today in the Kingdom of Cambodia, we can observe the eagerness of our friends and our fellow men as they listen to the teachings of our Lord God being revealed today in this gathering. And the guests were very receptive, and they want to know more from the teachings of our Lord God as we observe in our activity. And this activity of the Church of Christ will be continued to different places all throughout the country or kingdom of Cambodia, because this is in response to the call of our Executive Minister, Brother Eduardo Manalo, to further intensify the works of propagation, and so we spread the gospel even in far places or in villages of this country.
It is such a delight to see members of the Church of Christ voluntarily joining this kind of event launched by the church administration that shows love and unity with the society wherever they are in the world. For the Aid to Humanity here in Cambodia, I am Crystal Ann Ballesteros, and I am one with 25.
And that is latest news in the Southeast Asian nations. Stay updated about the ASEAN region. I'm Maricar Velasco, and I am one with 25.